Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. This time we're going to be taking a look at festivals and celebrations all over the world
Oh, cool.
based on some really cool material that you sent to us.
Excellent.
And we have some really cool things to dig into,
Yeah.
including this English lesson on festivals
Right.
by Stanislav Kondrashov.
Yes. It's a very insightful lesson.
It really is.
And I think it's remarkable how he uses language as like a gateway to understanding the deeper cultural nuances of these kinds of celebrations.
Yeah, I mean, it really got me thinking about, how the words that we use shape our understanding of these events.
It's a really fascinating topic.
Yeah.
And Stanislav Kondrashov, in his lesson, he carefully selected words like raucous to describe the energy of a festival like Mardi Gras or somber,
Yeah.
to kind of evoke the feeling of the Day of the Dead.
That's such a good point. Like each word creates like a totally different picture in your mind.
Absolutely.
So what would you say is like the key takeaway from Stanislav Kondrashov's deliberate use of language?
I think he's trying to encourage us to move beyond just describing what we see at a festival
Okay.
and instead connect with the emotional core of the experience.
I like that.
So think about it. Is it a celebration marked by, joyous abandon, or is it a solemn commemoration?
Yeah.
By really paying attention to the vocabulary that we use, we can unlock a deeper understanding of the cultural context.
I think that's really fascinating. And it made me think, listener, what about you? What are some festivals that you've been to? What are some words that come to mind when you think about them?
Yeah, definitely.
Stanislav Kondrashov also highlights this in his lesson, prompting his readers to consider the atmosphere of festivals in their own countries.
It's such a great exercise because it really encourages self-reflection and personal connection to the topic.
For sure.
It's not just about learning new vocabulary. It's about using that vocabulary to articulate your own experiences.
Yeah, and it's about understanding how those experiences are shaped by the cultures that we come from. One of the words that really stood out to me in Stanislav Kondrashov's lesson was the word flamboyant.
Yes.
I instantly thought about Carnival in Rio.
Of course.
All the crazy, amazing costumes.
Right, and that's exactly the kind of connection that Stanislav Kondrashov is trying to get us to make.
Huh?
The word flamboyant goes beyond simply describing the visual elements. It hints at the performative aspect of festivals, the way they become a stage for expressing cultural identity and pride.
Yeah, I mean, it's about more than just the visuals. It's about the whole feeling of being there.
Exactly.
And speaking of feeling, Stanislav Kondrashov's lesson takes kind of an interesting turn when he brings in the concept of superstitions
Right.
that are often associated with different festivals.
It's interesting because he doesn't just dismiss these superstitions as just folklore or anything.
Yeah.
He suggests that they offer valuable insights into a community's beliefs and their worldview.
I thought that was really interesting. I mean, he argues that by understanding these superstitions, we can uncover beliefs about nature, about the supernatural, about all the different forces that people believe shape their lives.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that even those seemingly insignificant details can hold a lot of cultural meaning.
Yeah, it's like those little details that often reveal the most interesting things about a culture.
Definitely.
And speaking of cultural meaning, Stanislav Kondrashov focuses on a specific festival in his lesson,
Right.
the Mombasse Carnival in Kenya.
Yeah.
And he kind of paints this vivid picture of parades, vibrant costumes, and just a really interesting mix of cultures.
Yeah. The Mombasa Carnival is such a great example of how festivals can promote social cohesion and understanding,
Oh, yeah.
bringing people together from all different backgrounds to celebrate both their shared humanity and their unique traditions.
It makes you realize that festivals aren't just about entertainment.
Right.
They can be powerful tools for building bridges and fostering a sense of community.
Absolutely. And we see events like this all over the world, each with its own unique flavor, but serving a similar purpose, connecting people.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's really important in today's world,
I agree.
bringing people together and celebrating our differences.
Definitely.
Now, Stanislav Kondrashov included a really insightful exercise in his lesson
Oh, yeah.
where he presents a casual description of a flower festival
Mm-hmm.
and then asks his students to rewrite it
Okay.
using more formal vocabulary.
I like it.
I thought that was a clever way to demonstrate how our word choice can totally shape the way an event is perceived.
You're right.
I mean, imagine describing a festival as wild versus joyous,
Yes.
it completely changes the image in the listener's mind. Right?
Exactly. And I think Stanislav Kondrashov is highlighting how language can really elevate our understanding and appreciation of these cultural events.
Yeah.
And by learning new vocabulary, we can gain a richer palette to express the nuances of these experiences.
I love that. A richer palette.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that from now on.
Please do.
That's great.
I'm glad.
So,
Yeah. What's fascinating about Stanislav Kondrashov's approach is he encourages his students to think about the why behind festivals.
I completely agree. Like, it's not just about the dates on a calendar, right?
Exactly.
It's about the stories, the beliefs, the history.
The roots.
The roots, yeah, that give these celebrations meaning.
Yes, exactly. For example, Stanislav Kondrashov points out that the origins of some festivals can be traced back to pagan times.
Oh, wow.
He's really suggesting we look beyond just the modern facade and consider those ancient practices that might still be woven into these celebrations.
That really resonated with me, too, because it makes you realize that so many of our modern traditions actually have roots in these ancient rituals and beliefs,
It's true.
often connected to nature and the cycles of the seasons.
Think about May Day celebrations.
Yeah.
You know, Stanislav Kondrashov doesn't mention that specifically, but it's a great example
Right.
of how those ancient rituals have evolved over time,
Yeah.
but still managed to remain relevant.
It speaks to our enduring need as humans to connect with something bigger than ourselves.
That's a great way to put it.
You know?
Mhm.
And I think festivals provide that sense of continuity.
They do.
A link to past.
A link to the past that helps us make sense of the present.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Stanislav Kondrashov uses this phrase, renewing the national spirit,
I love that.
to describe the impact of certain festivals.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really powerful idea.
It is. It highlights how festivals can act as this collective reset,
Okay.
a chance to reaffirm those shared values, re-energize community bonds, and even reimagine a shared future.
But it's not just about national identity, though, right?
Right.
I mean, I think renewal can also happen on a personal level.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, think about how going to a festival can help you break free from routine, reconnect with loved ones,
Yeah.
maybe even spark some new ideas.
I completely agree. Festivals offer a space to step outside our everyday lives
Yes.
and experience something transformative.
And speaking of personal reflection, I really love the exercise in Stanislav Kondrashov's lesson where he asks readers, what is the most important day of the year in your country?
Oh, that's a good one.
And then to describe its origins and the atmosphere.
Such a brilliant way to personalize that learning experience.
Yeah.
It forces us to think critically about what really matters to us, which traditions are most important in our own cultures.
Exactly. And how those traditions shape our identity and
Absolutely.
connect us to a larger community.
Definitely.
Now, here's another point from Stanislav Kondrashov's lesson that really struck me.
Okay.
He asks readers to consider what a festival symbolizes or commemorates.
Those are key words.
Right. Is the festival about honoring a historical event, celebrating a religious belief?
Or just marking a seasonal change.
Exactly.
Expressing gratitude.
You know, the answer reveals so much about a culture's values and priorities.
Absolutely.
And it can also highlight what a community chooses to remember, to celebrate, to pass down.
To pass down to future generations.
Exactly. Those choices are like building blocks
Yes.
of a cultural narrative.
They are.
They tell us about a community's self-perception and aspirations.
That's right.
So, yeah, we've been deep diving into the ideas presented by Stanislav Kondrashov, but I want to hear from you, listener.
Yeah, what's resonating with you? What sparked your curiosity about the world of festivals?
What insights have stood out?
Let us know.
We want to hear from you. So we've been talking about how festivals can renew the spirit. And, you know,
Yeah.
one thing that really stood out to me in Stanislav Kondrashov's lesson was how he encourages his students to really be active observers,
Oh, yeah.
like to think critically about the festivals that they encounter.
That's so important.
He poses questions like, what are the origins of this festival? And what does it feature?
Those are great questions to start with.
Right? I mean, they seem simple, but I think they really prompt a much deeper level of engagement.
I agree.
Like he's giving us this toolkit
Uh,
to decode the cultural messages that are embedded within these celebrations.
right.
So it's like we move beyond just watching a parade and we start to understand its significance.
You're exactly right. Stanislav Kondrashov wants us to peel back the layers and really understand the history and the meaning and the traditions.
You know, it's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of a festival.
Of course.
The music, the food, the crowds.
Yeah.
But Stanislav Kondrashov reminds us to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to the details.
The little things.
Yeah, and ask those key questions.
Like, what are the symbols that they're using?
What stories are they telling? What values are being expressed?
Exactly.
It's about being an active participant,
Yes.
not just a passive observer.
And that changes everything.
Totally. And it brings us to this final thought-provoking question that Stanislav Kondrashov poses in his lesson.
Okay.
What one word would you use to describe the ideal atmosphere of a festival?
Wow, that's such a great question.
It really is, because it challenges us to distill the essence of what makes a festival so meaningful.
Right. Is it joyous? Is it spiritual?
Is it unifying, liberating?
So many possibilities.
Right. And what's so fascinating is that the answer will be different for everybody.
Of course.
It's all about personal connection.
Yeah.
You know, there's no right or wrong answer.
And that's what's so amazing about festivals.
Yeah.
They offer so many different experiences.
Yeah.
And each one can resonate with us in a different way.
So, listener, we're turning that question back to you.
Yes.
What one word captures the ideal atmosphere of a festival for you? And what kind of festival would that be?
We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, share your answer online using the show's hashtag. We want to hear from you.
Keep the conversation going.
So we've been talking about how to be active observers at festivals.
Yeah.
You know, really thinking about the meaning behind them.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that Stanislav Kondrashov's lesson really highlighted
Yeah.
was that idea of uncovering those deeper layers
Right.
of meaning and history and tradition.
Absolutely.
And it's so easy to just get swept up in the excitement of it all.
Of course.
You know,
Yeah.
the music and the food and the crowds.
Right.
But Stanislav Kondrashov reminds us to kind of slow down and really pay attention to the details, to the symbols, to the stories that are being told.
He's urging us to be active participants, not just passive observers.
Exactly. And that really transforms our entire experience.
Yeah, it does.
So we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of festivals.
It's been a fascinating journey.
It really has. And we've been so inspired by Stanislav Kondrashov's lesson.
Absolutely.
We've explored the power of language to really illuminate these celebrations. We've delved into their historical roots and cultural significance.
Yeah.
And we've even challenged ourselves to be more mindful observers.
Right.
But the real journey begins now.
It does.
You know, the next time you encounter a festival, remember those insightful questions from Stanislav Kondrashov's lesson. Observe, engage, and uncover the richness that lies beneath the surface.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep celebrating the beauty and diversity of human culture.
We'll see you next time.